What's up, Japanime fanimes? Welcome to WeeaBoomers, the only vintage anime podcast here at GigaBoots. I'm your host, Saturday Japanime Danime, and with me is Bob Inazuma Kick from GigaBoots, Dr. Agbro.
Hard work and guts.
That is what powers GigaBoots, and Chris Wolfhard.
I like aim for the ace.
I didn't actually prepare a thing to say here. But welcome. We are talking about the classic anime Gunbuster, which you don't need to be told if you watch it, is made by people who worked on AVA.
I mean, Gunbuster is the anime equivalent of when you find like a thumb-sized brick of Dorito dust in the corner of the bag. Like, this is the flavor nugget that fueled 20 years of anime.
If you shave off the surface layer that is PE girl outfits, this is the ultimate middle point between, as we were mentioning earlier, Gurren Lagann and Ava. It's just we're a little bit of the where are they going? How are they doing it? What is our solution? It is very exciting. And the thing I like to point out about this anime that I've definitely seen before earlier today is not only is this mech anime about the characters, oh my God, it very much subverts the expectations of the genre. It's subverting the genre, Bob. That's
okay.
What I like about it.
Subverting the genre by explicitly being the tennis series, Aim for the Ace, and also explicitly Top Gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. This was way too gay to be Top Gun. I'm like,
haven't seen Top Gun recently enough.
How do I form one sentence that shows I understand two things not at all? Right?
Like, it starts out as a parody of Super Robo.
Mm-hmm.
But then as it goes on, you're like, is this going to be like a Martian successor to Nadesco kind of thing? But you can't really parody mech anime harder than mech anime goes itself.
Correct, yeah.
So it just sort of melds back into just being sick-ass mech anime.
I mean, the mech anime as a blanket term, you got those subgenres with the mech anime, parentheses, with its dick out. Like, so, like, how do you go harder than that?
Speaking of subgenres, there are two very different subgenres at work here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I should state, the first time I saw Gunbuster was in, like, the 90s. I watched it on, like, the world's first website that streamed pirated anime.
Wow.
It wasn't even like it didn't have a name. It was just a link I got somewhere on an HTML site. It had two shows that worked. One was Gunbuster, and the other was that Red Hawk show I keep bringing up.
Wow. God. Okay, this explains you being like, yo, there's this stank-ass way to watch this in the modern landscape. How nostalgic. And me and Bob are like, what the fuck does he mean nostalgic? Now it makes sense.
It does.
Did they deliver it in a real movie format or something?
Oh, we'll get to the manga TV app in a minute. But when I watched it, because I haven't seen it since, and I only got to see the first OVA, the first two episodes.
Oh.
So I'm here to tell you my memory of Gunbuster is a slow, realistic sci-fi special effects anime that had no giant robots in it other than the training models.
Wow.
I had never
really
seen
funny.
Gunbuster since then. Wow. So when the Gunbuster shows up, I started shitting myself.
Oh my God. I'm just going to get this out now. Normally, I'd want to throw this in a little bit later, but do you think they meant anything when the fucking theme of Gunbuster is working on the degeneracy reactor? That literally the task of doing this is for the future of humanity and it takes away your time. Do you think there might have been some sort of metaphors that fucking play here?
No.
Okay.
Well, let's see. It was directed by Hideaki Anno, so no. There probably wasn't any kind of messages about anything in it.
No, in fact, this is one of those animes that's about nothing.
I have to ruin this episode of WeeaBoomers now.
Already.
Oh, no.
Barely in.
I've been thinking this every single time he's been on screen in Gunbuster. Do you think Smith Torrin looks like Jinkaria?
Yes! I'm sorry, this was my first time seeing Smith Torrin. He looks like Jinkaria.
There are vague similarities.
Do you think they stole Smith Torrin for Jinkaria.
I just
They made him. They took all his sauce when they turned him to Karia because they cut
Yeah,
his
of
hair
course.
really short
Yeah.
and take the highlight out.
Yeah, the hair. He looks like there's somebody else, and I'm trying to remember if
He
he's a Yu
looks
Yu
like-
Hakusho character.
okay. So it might be a Hunter x Hunter, or like my brain's like, well, if you fed an AI both Jinkaria and Vash the Stampede, it just
The exact hairstyle he has with the two wings and like the High Widow's Peak, I've seen many times, but I cannot place.
yeah,
I'm like this vampire-looking motherfucker.
like a count, like a bounce.
No, they're nothing alike.
This is really fantastic in a certain way because this is okay. The fact that the ending is like, oh, I'm very much framed around or actually, I think it was the intro sequence where it's like, it's a sports anime. So we show them running along the beach, but she's in a mech and he's the coach cheering her on. It's very funny. It's very funny. Anyways, that's the opening. The rest of this is something else.
Yeah, the first episode is just a direct parody of like Chris keeps bringing up Aim for the Ace.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if various shots are directly remade. I'm pretty sure Hideaki Yamamoto's even said
once-
that movie is one of his favorite movies.
I mean, yeah, it has to be
Oh
because
no,
once,
it's explicit.
Yeah.
once you get to space, it's like here are exact Gundam takeoff shots, almost drawn over Gundam, and I'm like, God damn, guys!
This is garage anime shit. Like these are guys who made literal resin garage kits of figures,
Right.
to fund the production of this anime because they were, super fans. So this is back before like the lawyers could find you because the internet existed.
Right.
So you got to just do shit like this as an expression of love.
Heck, I think that Noriko herself is almost certainly the girl from Daikon.
yeah,
Like, you see her as a kid in the very first shot of the show. It looks almost identical to Daikon 3 when she's a kid and has the captain outfit.
yeah.
Even when she grows up, she looks pretty darn similar.
Yeah, no. I also got those vibes. I totally get that. But it is very funny that it's just like, yeah, it's a pretty lewd like summer girl PE sort of anime, but they're in mechs, and that's pretty funny.
Those
Right, it's
PE
like
outfits
goofy.
are straight up fetish wear. Like it's not
Yes,
even
no.
we made the school uniform too sexy.
We made
Was this necessary for the
We-
piloting of the mech?
we made the sex uniform too school enforced. That's,
Look, it's time for everybody to accept this. If you see bloomers in an anime made after 1985, it's a fetish thing.
Yeah. No, it's just classic and nostalgic.
yeah, of course.
Look, they go beyond just simply bloomers, and now it's something cool. Now it's like you've mixed the bunny girl outfit into it.
I'm gonna say there's like one actual complaint I have about these OVAs.
Okay.
Just one, and it's really simple. And I'm a straight shooter on this one. They stopped showing the tits when they became adult women. I'm like, what the fuck is what?
Look, there's
You
not enough
couldn't
time for that.
fucking quit that when they
freaking-
were 17.
It's only one episode.
One-Sama's like 30 and she's still in the PE uniform in the mech.
That was
I mean,
fucking hilarious.
I love that final episode. They give her two different outfits. One for when she's riding the Gunbuster 3, where it's a new one that's sexier even.
Yes, she's in like the weird
Yes.
dominatrix outfit.
Right.
Look, I'm just saying it could be improved.
And then like they have the weird like gaiters that they pull up over their mouth when
Yes.
they're it's a cavalcade of wild design choices.
It's so cool.
Like, yeah, this is like I said, it's the flavor nugget. Like nowadays, when you say that anime bullshit, we're talking about shonen tropes. This is the Old Testament. This is when that anime bullshit meant mechs and sexy nurses.
And doing a flying kick.
And
Yes.
doing a flying kick.
Oh my
yeah.
God, she just yelled Inazuma kick. I was so happy.
It's really good. Like, Bob, I think you were pointing out, like, they literally can't even end the end of the episode science segment without saying it every time or something.
Yeah, that's in there.
They're like, oh, and also Inazuma kick. God. I love that the super technique for the special gunbuster unit isn't the Inazuma kick, seemingly. It is just bracing yourself, attaching to the mothercraft, and tasing it so hard it fucking literally vaporizes. Just explodes into vapor. I'm like, that is so brute force and amazingly fucked up.
Every move the Gunbuster knows is incredible.
Yes.
Yeah, there's this real energy of like, but Why can you only have one of these?
I don't know, but it was really great to be like these training robots and all the robots they use in space before the Gunbuster are kind of dumpy, just sort of bulky little things. And the Gunbuster itself is the coolest mech ever made. How? It's so good. I don't know.
It's really incredible. Like, you see all the other ships and you're like, this is a certain type of outer space sci-fi, anime genre. And then the Gunbuster comes
it's
out.
literally it's a real Robo mixed with Super Robo just sitting there.
And it's fantastic.
It is, because it makes, by contrast, like the Gunbuster is the purest expression of mech as a thematic genre, where you can read paper after jerk off video essay about how the mech was Japan's post-war expression of reclaiming their projection of power in the world. And the Gunbuster itself really is the purest form of that, where we have this, the whole space monster thing, which they're fucking nuts. They're crazy. The way they're implemented, the way they're drawn like microbiology textbook pictures, the way they don't quite move or animate like everything else in the show. It's just fucking perfect. But the way you have all the realistic robot and sci-fi anime ships getting their shit plowed in, and then from out of the wreckage comes this giant cartoon robot to wreck shit on an uncaring universe.
Fucking name it the SS Indomitable Human Will.
I feel like every episode has a moment that really does like hit me on a deep emotional level. Like it nails that more than anything else I've seen. I feel every episode I'm almost in tears or actually there.
I mean, it is an anime that largely contends with, in order to even go on these expeditions, they're losing months of their lives, and it stops being that conceptually and starts becoming they lose everyone. They lose everyone who did not join them for that because they are getting separated. And then for one character wraps back around again to go, no, they're losing their life. That it really is. It's just this. Okay, so those what are they called, like cow sticks or whatever, that snack food where it's like caramel on the outside and this weird icing filling.
Yeah,
cowtails. Yeah, it's kind of like that, where that's the emotional core of it. It's just like, dude, you're fucking so pronounced compared to the rest of this.
Even the way they do Smith's death, I think that was incredible. Just there's no dying last words. There's no even explosion. It's just he didn't come back.
Yeah, she just lost track of him in that chaos. Like I have had to compare every space combat scene from a show to that since I was a kid. Don't measure up.
No,
it's the kind of crushing that only Anno could produce from having watched every mecha anime ever made before this.
I hadn't watched this in like 15 years. I worried coming back it would no longer be one of my favorite things ever. And no, it's still just, it's incredible. I don't know.
Because it is like it's usually kind of tongue-in-cheek when we say it, when we call something brave. But for a show to swing this hard in both directions of realistic hard sci-fi and our ship is piloted by psychics and space cyborg dolphins, Super Robo, that's Gainax.
I'm going to be honest.
Nobody else could have done it.
That was the funniest joke in the entire show. Because they show it.
Yeah.
They show the fucking dolphin. And I'm just staring at that for that whole shot going, we going to talk about that?
Yeah. But no, there's been a 15-year time jump, and we are not going to explain the tech advancements.
We're not going to explain the fucking dolphin.
The chairs are spiky now. We are not explaining the tech.
Oh, I love the chairs. That was immediately and obviously like appreciable.
I love everything with the way that it handles science in this. Just it takes itself so seriously. It does not blink. You never believe that they are bending the rules for the sake of doing something. No, it feels like we're losing the time by doing this. This is going to kill us.
Yeah, not a lot of sci-fi actually deals with time dilation. Like I can count on one hand the number of things I've seen actually delve into that. I've also never seen, like, space elevators are a pretty standard thing these days.
Yeah.
Never seen a space cable car. I feel like that cable's too thin.
In episode 2, she describes how fast they are moving through space and how it turns into like riding an actual boat because of the way that space is moving around.
Yeah, because of the ether. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, this is the sort of sci-fi little neat little things we don't get.
Yeah.
At the same time, when she said that, I felt like, oh, that's a nightmare. Like,
Yeah.
you went to space and you could not escape, like, seasickness.
A lot of things in this are like, no.
Oh, yeah.
This is a nightmare. We have built ourselves a nightmare device.
The scope of the mentality of what exists in the show's telling each and every episode is so drastic and sharp and immediate in a way that's just like, yeah, those are the aliens. What? Yeah, they're deeply horrifying.
Are we going to find out anything about them? No.
They want to eat us.
They lay their eggs in stars and think we should die.
Right?
Yeah.
They might be in some sort of system to destroy us personally. We don't know.
We cannot build ships fast enough to kill them. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to blow up the middle of the galaxy.
Yeah.
You telling me these guys wrote Gurren Lagann?
Yeah. Shock.
The official name of them are space monsters.
They
That's-
certainly are.
I'm afraid that's all we know, gentlemen.
You know, every time they try to do like, oh, look at our Independence Day scary alien thing, I'm like, oh, that's, yeah. No, these are horrifying. They're just giant crustaceans and insects, and they're like a cockroach and a horseshoe crab.
Yeah, it's literally like weird bug things that
I
come
hate
out
it.
of bizarre, like you're saying, reefs or something. Like they're,
Yeah, it's vile.
yes.
And like they're like as soon as you really get a grasp of the scale of them, you realize, oh, this is the sort of thing that naturally lives in the universe. That they exist at the scale of this galaxy, not us.
Yeah.
We're a weird little bug thing that got off our planet.
Yeah, we're the weird, bizarre exception to how things are normal.
And like they have that guy on the gantry scene where he's like, do we really have the right to implode the galaxy, to break space? And she's like, maybe not, but I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I really love that conversation because she literally is just like, if we entertain that, we're not entitled to do that. That's basically the same as suicide, and I'm not going to go down that road mentally. And then he's like, do you believe yourself? And she's like, I don't know anymore. I'm like,
yeah,
that's
immediately.
0 seconds passed.
You mean Hideaki Anno wrote this?
It's fucking perfect. Also, I love the contrast creating a lot of the humor in this, like the karaoke intro for episode 3, as it just goes, here's all this science, and I'm like, this is so much, and then they just end it with, by the way, this was a speech delivered at a Japanese high school graduation in 2021 explaining the history of these advanced space physics, and I kept pausing and reading it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, sure, okay, fun.
You're telling me Hideaki Anno worked on this?
Like the way this starts so so firmly just a parody of not just mecha anime but sports anime. To the point, like one of the first scenes is the mean girls laughing at her while in the mech.
Yes, it's incredible.
That is hilarious.
And then it just progresses smoothly and without weird jankiness. No. Now it's some unbelievable horror about these monstrosities from space and human determinism.
Yeah, somehow they did that transition without like batting an eye. Like it's crazy.
In 6 episodes.
Yeah, 6 episodes.
6 30-minute episodes. I think once you watch Gunbuster, you'll never want everybody who works on streaming shows to stop being shot.
Yeah.
You'll feel like just every second somebody should be hitting them with something.
This really was like, this was a 50 episode mech anime space opera epic compressed into just the juice.
We got Jupiter in there.
Fuck, I took it back like twice. Like, oh, that's Jupiter. Oh yeah, we compressed that shit to one whatever its size. I'm like, I'm sorry, what now?
I loved when you get to see inside that, and it's like, oh, this is where Xenosaurus 2 came from. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like the intro to episode 4 as well, which has let me explain the scale of the enemy motherships.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, oh, that sucks.
We haven't talked about the how it has between episodes. I don't know if this happened on the way Chris watched it, but it did for us. they'll show the science lab. Like it'll be chibi versions of the two main characters talking about science of the universe.
And they're in front of a Macintosh window, like it's an application running on a Mac OS. And I'm like, what the hell? You just drew an Apple logo and everything.
Yeah.
This,
Yeah.
like,
It sure was 1988.
yeah, like honestly, this kind of post-omake thing used to be commonplace in a lot of shows. You just have characters.
we still have it.
Yeah, we
Like,
still
it's-
do it now and then. Like shit, I think Demon Slayer does
Yeah,
it.
Demon Slayer did it. Bleach is doing it. Like,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But during that exact one I just referenced in that intro, as they're explaining the science, there is a part where she's being praised for her attention to detail and how much that anime fans will appreciate that. And she sticks out her tongue, and I'm like, that's the Karikano main character. I'm sticking out my tongue like a bizarre lizard creature frame. How many different Gainax things does this show up in?
It's
started
all here.
early.
Yeah.
Like shit. Coach,
Yeah.
that character,
You mean Tom Cruise?
he gets straight lifted for so many other shows where they're just him. Like, if you've never seen Comic Party, go watch an episode of Comic Party. He's in that show.
I'm pretty sure the manager from fucking Zombieland Saga is just also supposed to be a riff on that guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
He
is-
looks almost exactly the same.
He's straight up that archetype.
I love that his job is coach. His name is Koichiro.
Yes!
Koichiro. It's
so
close enough
good.
to be like, yeah, it's the same thing.
I got to talk about the reverse of that process, where instead of them being like, we made this character, we're going to recycle it later or whatever. How much do you guys like Soviet Haban Karn, whose hair is just red instead of pink?
It's also curly.
It's a little bit of curl just to be like, see, it's different.
Yes, she's so good. They almost completely cut her out in the movie cut of this. The movie cut, never watched the movie cut of this.
Oh my God. I forgot there was a movie
What's
cut.
even
I was so upset when I bought
what's
that.
even the point of there being a movie cut? This isn't even fucking 3 hours. You
they're-
don't have 40 more minutes.
They cut it, I think, down to like an hour 40. It's ludicrous.
I like you just going, David Lynch, you people don't have 40 more minutes? That's fucking sad.
It was so upsetting because that was the only way I could get a Blu-ray of it. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I'll buy this because it's got a Blu-ray of this and of Die Buster.
The OVAs were just not available forever.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
in Japan, I think there were some legal troubles because the chick who sang the OP ran into drug problems, so they didn't reprint it. Also, somebody put in a legally not distinct enough version of Chariots of Fire that didn't make it into the US release.
That makes sense.
I think it's very funny how they just drop the Soviet anthem in a couple places in this series. And I'm like, I mean, it sounds cool. It's a really cool sounding song while something grand is happening. So it makes sense, I guess.
She's in the Soviet robot, and I'm like, oh, you guys were hopeful. But also, her name is what, like Jung Freud?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, that's her name.
An aggressively not Russian name.
No,
which is why
they
I'm
threw
glad.
the dart and then wherever it landed.
Like I didn't get to hear either the original dub or the new dub, so I was really glad I came over here and got to see the tail end of it again. I'm like, okay, so they did go with a Russian accent,
Yes.
not just like Oscar it up and she was on loan from Germany.
I don't. Was there an old dub? Because as far as I'm aware, this was the first dub made. It was made this year.
Was there not an old dub?
Yeah, because the way I watched it originally was Japanese.
Yeah, there was not an old dub.
Oh, wait, this dub is brand new.
This set was brand new, and they've actually made this sound like a 90s dub.
That actually explains why I'm having countless moments of, why do these sound like people I should know? These should be nobodies if it was dubbed in the 90s.
Yeah, a lot of them are even brand new actors. Like Lisa Ortiz is back for High School Friend, and I think her daughter's played by some other more famous actor, but everyone else is like pretty new.
Yeah, that's why it didn't stand out as a recent dub. Like, because there were enough just completely unknowns to me that I was losing my mind going, but that dude just sounds like, what? That's really fascinating.
Yeah, I really like the Noriko voice actress they got. I think that she hits this tone that reminds me of Excel in all the right ways.
Yes.
And that really works for that character.
Yeah, we're coming back around. We're realizing those. Here's what we're realizing. The year is 2023. people who hate dubs are never going to stop, so we should just make them 90s dubs.
Well, now that you can record remotely, you have like a talent pool of more than the same 30 people within driving distance of Funimation's headquarters.
Yeah, as it turns out, we have somehow returned to that person on the corner that you just ran into can be a voice actor yet again. And that's really cool. You know what else is really cool?
What's that?
Just fucking taking the Tannhauser gates and being like, this is real and ours now.
Yep. That's how good sci-fi works.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Blade Runner.
Just steal concepts.
Yeah. I thought it was fascinating when they're like, let's explain how they work. And I'm like, ooh.
I always love that.
Yeah, no, you just give me the words. We built a machine to do it. Okay, cool.
Great.
Shit, I think one of the guys who wrote for Next Generation actually kept trying to work the dolphin thing
Oh, yeah.
into that universe. I think like there's very little of it left. Like I think they caught him. But I think there's a couple of times when you can hear someone like over the intercom, Dr. Whatever, please report to like Cetacean Ops or something.
Yes, Cetacean Ops. That was in a bunch of TNG episodes. I think they were also in I think they also bring it up even more in that fucking new terrible comedy series, which sadly shouldn't count.
Man, when they get to this point where it's like, yeah, these ships work purely based on math. Like
That is some Douglas Adams shit.
yeah.
Yes, it is. They start thinking their way across the universe because propulsion's just too fucking slow.
Right?
Moving between two spaces, that's for losers.
Like in order to compensate for the breakdown of causality around the ship, I'm like, fuck me.
We already are. Oh my God.
God, is this maybe the first time something comes out of warp in the dimension shatters? Because it literally is like this bare space turns to glass and shatters open. I feel like that's the first time that happens in anything, but I haven't seen enough mech anime. I don't know. Also, something that I think is similar to Gurren Lagann, which, no surprise. Noriko's motivation in the first episode is, I want to go out to space and find my dad. Episode 2, she finds out, no, he is dead for sure.
Yeah, it's really good.
That scene was really when time dilation clicked for me as a kid. When she gets on the ship and she's like, only 2 days have passed on this boat. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, no, it's so interesting, and I'm astonished no other work of fiction has done it like this ever again. Like made it a big focus.
Because then you have to write your cast and then you age them up and you have to like have an idea where they're going or what they're doing, and feel free to throw away a character or two. Look, sci-fi's gay. We're not trying that anymore.
This was also like the only other time I've seen this happen was in one of the Stars, Banner or Crest, I'm not sure which. Because like in that series, they did a lot of combat in warp, in light speed, where like the munitions would come out of like, they had a weird tunneling version of warping, kind of like in this one. And the munitions would come out of light speed into their frame of reference. And you had to time when they would drop out of warp and then hit the ship. So that scene where like, oh, we're under attack. Like, we can't be under attack. Newtonian physics don't work in subspace. What the fuck are you talking about?
God. It's like that moment near the end of Redline where like they're breaking all the laws of physics using magic. But it happens like statistically just 5 times or something. Like it's constantly like, this isn't how science is supposed to work. We need to refigure out what science is.
We're doing speedrun tech in real life.
This is a really dumb detail for me to find really, like, I love this. But instead of calling it faster than light travel, they actually call it C+. Because it's the speed of light. And I'm like, why do we not call it that? People are going to be like, you programmed this speed? And I'm like, that's not... like, you telling me to shrimp fry this?
These guys are from old school, like back in the day when anime and special effects shows were the same fan base.
Yeah.
Like the hard sci-fi guys who like read the books, not just watched a few Star Trek movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, they care so much about meticulous little details. Like, I love all the different things about Gunbuster's hand. One episode, they go to land on it, and it becomes a landing pad with a special, like, target for them to land on. The next episode, it puts its hand down, and a door opens on the side of it, and they come out. It's just all these weird little things that took a ton of like intricate mech design details to make.
Yeah, the insane amount of lights on the hand when it lights up for them to land on it is like, holy shit, I love that.
Now you have these two different and really cool battleships that combine into the Gunbuster with this really elaborate combination locking sequence that makes zero fucking sense.
Right, but that obviously does not matter.
Right. But in the same way that the show transitions from sports comedy parody into fucking Gunbuster by the end of it.
Yeah.
Like those two ships, you can see in 2 minutes that same transition from realistic space sci-fi show into super robot.
Yes.
God, even when they fly around as the ships, they shoot out electricity like it's Godzilla.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh god, yeah, how all the ships are just laser bombardment.
yes. Ah, those lasers in this, they're really cool.
I love the beginning of the series versus the end, because the beginning of the series is like ignoring the monitors and simply knowing where your opponent is. That is true strength. The end of the series is what it's like Gundam. The entire cockpit is monitors of the outside of space. We've moved past that. You're living in the past, viewer.
She's like, oh, I can't watch the monitors and use all these really sick ass robot controls at the same time. I'm like, yeah, that's a problem. Cut to the Gunbuster
Right.
cockpit. Wait, did we just have that shit?
I guess we solved it at some point. Who knows when?
It's been like 8 years or something, so I guess that it was made in that time. They jump all the way from we are pre-Gundam 1, like Universal Century First War, like 1 year war, to being G Gundam.
Yeah. My God, I just in one shot, the Gunbuster has a fucking cape.
Yes.
This is the most anime
Yep. Okay.
that it gets. And like what's great about this is, you know, like nowadays Gainax is mostly remembered for the people that became Trigger. Where them and Production IG fused together, and like you can look at modern Trigger and this, and you can really chart their slow transition. Once again, it's a theme of the episode. Their slow transition from early Gainax into Trigger, with, you know, IG getting injected in there at some point.
Yeah, you can see it really harshly if you just watch Die Buster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is directed by the FLCL guy.
Oh.
It is still a good show, but nothing like Gunbuster.
Huh.
Yeah, no, I don't think you could have made Gunbuster 5-10 years later.
You couldn't have.
No.
Can I tell you how much I love the dialogue that is him bleeding from illness, just screaming, humanity is going to face the greatest threat it has ever seen. And her just going, you need to see a doctor.
Yeah.
God, Coach is so fucking good.
Yeah, I assumed he was also stolen directly from Aim for the Ace, but I don't know. I need to watch that.
Again, they specifically reference Top Gun, so I think it's literally he's just Top Gun.
Oh, yeah. I could see that.
If for some reason you're one of those people who will listen to an episode of WeeaBoomers without having seen the thing, which I don't recommend you do. This is a shitty way to get introduced to something.
That's unbelievably strange.
Hey,
it is.
As long as it's a way to get introduced to something, like then it's still a net positive.
It's still net
over,
positive.
Right.
I cannot express to you the scope and the audacity of this show. Like, this show is so, in the traditional sense of the word, epic, that it also contains some of the most hammed up melodrama you will ever see.
Yeah.
And the scale of this show is such that it fits.
Yeah.
Like, it is contained within it. Like, well, yeah, of course that's how everyone in this show acts.
Yeah.
This is a galaxy-spanning production. God, the Gunbuster 3 is... it is, to this day, one of the most haunting things I've ever seen. The scale of it.
Yeah.
It is a compressed version of Jupiter.
The audacity.
Is so beyond enormous as a word.
Like when the Admiral says, like, watch what happens when you back humanity into a corner. Yeah, we're gonna blow up the galaxy.
Yeah, I also really love them describing the threat of like, let me explain how. And this isn't even that time. This is the earlier time. They're like, let me explain how many billions of enemies there are. They cover the full width of 80 astral units, and the guy's like, the whole room's lighting up with murmurs of like, how do you even conceptualize that? This is so big. And he goes, okay, so imagine the diameter of the orbit of Pluto. Mm-hmm. I'm like, Jesus.
There was more enemies than space.
Yeah, it was like 7 parts enemies to 3 parts space from our observation point.
Yeah.
Like that's, and once again, like, because Gainax uses the whole animal, I flash forward to Gurren Lagann, where you have that opening shot, like, those aren't stars. Every light you see is an enemy.
God.
Noriko, I think, has some really great moments in this. I keep thinking about how they keep building her up until she has the moment in the Gunbuster. She is still the fragile child that she's introduced as, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Like, they even have the rival Russian girl challenges to a duel, and she's really overconfident. And then the second they tap into space, she has a mental breakdown.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like really, really appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah,
where you totally don't expect. You expect them to follow through with then they have a rivalry duel. It's like, no, she has a mental break because she's thinking about that person who died.
Yeah. It just, one of those things, you basically only get Shimano.
Man, Anno, your characters are so well fleshed out. How do you do it? I have depression.
We know.
It really is that thing that Gundam set out to do and then got lost in the wash of mech anime and toy sales. Where like he tried to make it about the horror of war, where this is really a show of like, you know, if we're gonna push out into space, we're gonna have to come to terms with the fact that we are not set up for this. These concepts and the things we're going to have to do and the shit we're going to have to accomplish exist outside of our ability to come to terms with naturally.
Yeah. It is so literally unreasonable. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, that's the whole progression of the show up to Gunbuster 3. When Gunbuster 3 comes out, the admiral of the super space fleet's like, holy fuck, we built that?
Yeah, it's funny because this exists completely in parallel to this thing that's, you know, you were talking about Gundam, and it's like Gundam set out to do this, that it became that, and it's all of that you just talked about in this series exists parallel to basically Double Zeta, where it's like, we got to make the Gunbuster fuse again. Like we got to fuse the toy together in order to fight the evil aliens that we're let's be honest, we're the monsters, but we want to live. So
why does Australia always get such a rough deal in this shit? Because, you know, it gets colony dropped in Gundam, but in this, the shell of the Buster Machine 3 was made of Australia. They mined all of Australia.
I thought that
there is no more Australia.
Really?
I thought that the idea there was the shockwave from the explosion.
Yes.
Broke Australia.
Yeah, like it
they're still
cracked it.
flooding.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that's where they said that shockwave impact.
Yeah, because, you know, they have the worst luck on Earth.
Apparently.
One of the many times in this show where they'll just drop a line and move past it, and it's the most horrific shit you've ever heard.
And it just happens a lot.
It's almost like Japan is the only country in the entire world that's in human history that's ever been nuked, and that sort of thing really persists culturally forever.
I will never forget the first time I read a book on like the history of anime in the early 2000s. And like one of the chapters was, why are there so many post-apocalyptic stories coming out in anime? And the guy goes, because Japan is a post-apocalyptic country.
Wow.
We sure did firebomb them pretty much into the fucking Stone Age before we nuked them.
It is really impressive because I have conversations with people occasionally lately where they're just like, can you believe we went through that pandemic and now everything's normal again? I'm like, yes. That's
Well, were we supposed to die?
if you come out the other end, then yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
And then we blow up the center of the galaxy.
And then we blow up that's just inevitable. Stop getting caught up in the details.
It's so terrifying that was like we couldn't beat them in a war, so we just destroyed that part of space.
Yeah, even the one before that's like, yeah, we blew up 3 planets.
It's like, the worst part is like you understand the scale of the Milky Way galaxy, right? So the thought that these creatures call their home the center of it is like, wait, are these God's children? Right? What? One fucking second, pump the brakes.
Who knows what else was out there?
Right.
Look,
Now I'm worried there are others.
Look, choice.
we cannot get into Ava on this one.
We will save that for another time. Speaking of pulling a Gainax.
Oh, yes.
Episode 6, we were talking about compressing the thing so hard down into... Well, the juice came out of 6 because now it's black and white. They squeezed it that
Black
hard.
and white, and now it's 16:9.
And it's storyboards for the final fight for humanity.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's like the most Gainax thing ever.
Yeah.
Heck, even the lead into this of
Yep.
the preview episode of like, yeah, nothing's done yet. The script's not even done.
Oh,
Isn't
dude,
this cool concept art?
I love that because, like, at one point, I think it's the end of episode 4, the beginning of, or the very end of episode 4. They're just like, here's the episode 6. I don't know. It has a title though.
We just got greenlit.
Please be excited.
That battle thing where they start going into, like very brusque art. Like at first I was thinking, this is that Gainax thing where they're saving money. It's kind of disappointing, but then it actually fit the moment and the movement so well because the scale of that battle ballooned so far outside of your ability to make sense of it.
Yeah.
Them going to just art splash pages over and over was beautiful.
And you don't even like need to see it to understand that would have been that to see animated, because at the end of the decimation, they go, how many ships we got left? Oh, 2,560.
Yeah, they put up the numbers of units lost right before that. And it's
damaged, lost, missing.
it's
Missing.
Unfathomable numbers.
Yeah.
Like 20,000 spaceships. What is that?
Also,
Can you
they-
conceive that?
And also, they cut to the inside of the spaceship, and there's a bunch of soldiers who have like they're bleeding out and terribly wounded. And I'm like, yeah, one of these fucking bugs just looked like Imperfect Cell and just boarded a ship and started stabbing them. I don't. God, I hate the bugs in this. They're like bugs and sea creatures in the worst way.
Yeah, it speaks to a horrifying line of evolutionary determinism because that means that they're the regular thing and we are a weird primate offshoot.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like thinking like if we meet an alien and they look like anything from the ocean, I'm becoming a fucking space marine. Like I am kneeling, yes, oh Emperor. We need to fucking get rid of these things. It's time for them to go. It's us or them, and it ain't gonna be me.
I hate to just go back around to say something was really cool, but
Okay.
you know when the Gunbuster shot the missiles and then they just started deleting parts of the alien?
Yeah, I remember that.
This is incredible.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
She just screamed homing laser and physics broke down.
Yes.
It's powered by your hard work and guts.
Yes.
You're telling me these people made Gurren Lagann?
Yeah, that was when it hit me the hardest. I was like, God damn.
Like, obviously, the sequel to this, Die Buster and Gurren Lagann, take a lot more from Getter Robo than this one does. But this still has that same energy of, like, no, humanity is the monster. Like, we don't think we're the monster because we haven't become it yet. But then all these other aliens show up and, like, they're like, you guys are going to become the monster? And then force us to become the monster. Because even like we build a fucking black hole bomb that levels an entire galaxy.
Only the center of a galaxy. Just to be clear, we're still fine.
Yeah, we're fine.
Unlike Getter Robo and Gurren Lagann, this doesn't go into it at all. It's like almost background. Like, yeah, we become the most terrifying military force in the existence of the universe.
Right. They mentioned it briefly in a conversation. It was like, yeah, but that's just how it is.
Yeah.
We need to survive.
Because they're unrelenting. The insane thing is that first event occurs, and I believe they say something like, oh, we took out 98.5% of them. And it's like, you mean to tell me that everything at the end there was like 11 or like 1.5%? Jesus Christ, we took out a lot.
I mean, it might have been of what we knew about, or just in that engagement.
I'm still just sold on another galaxy has another of God's children's that's going to come and fuck us. Like, this didn't solve shit.
It was 15 years later, so presumably more than
that's
hatched,
true.
So
Would bugs really do that?
They did seem to be going on a hatching spree.
right.
Yeah. They're like, they lay their eggs in the suns and the stars will hatch. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And then they show it and I'm like, oh, God.
How do you even lay eggs in the sun? How do you kill that? And
Yeah, that's a great question. And they explore that a little bit when they riddle it with lasers and it goes, nah.
I ain't the one.
Main character like graduates their little like high school to go into space to be a space marine after decimating a bully. Is this Ender's Game?
that part where they come back to high school, like episode 5 is incredible.
Yeah. No, it's great.
That's when all
love
the
it.
time dilation stuff just gets cranked to 11. She meets her high school friend who is now like 27 years old and has a kid. It's, you don't see anything like this. You really don't.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of that Cowboy Bebop episode where Faye meets her childhood friend who is now a grandma. It's like, okay, yeah, these are always really cool things to do in sci-fi.
Yeah, this is for as mechs and girls in fetish wear anime as this is. This is also like up there with the canon of high concept sci-fi works that anybody has ever heard of. Still.
The one thing that they just say in a sentence, and I'm like, I don't see any detail that provides that you're not just making shit up because this sentence sounded cool, was when they're like, the explosion from Gunbuster actually shifted the axis of the Earth. And I'm like, we're dealing with that great.
I mean, no, we aren't. Australia's
Australia.
flooded.
I mean, they're not, but overall we are.
Look, it's going great. We don't need to build the escape ship anymore.
Can't we fix Australia? We're too busy building spaceships. We need so many spaceships. Then they like cut to them building the spaceships and they're all these fucking sprue trees like model kits. I'm
Yeah.
like, fucking Gainax.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I didn't know. Man.
Yeah, I didn't notice until just now either. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
They're so smart.
So does anyone have any dicks left to suck or on this amazing masterpiece of fucking anime? This is let me be clear. If this anime existed as it was and somehow came out in the year like 2015, I would still just be like, that belongs in WeeaBoomers because the material of it is so distinctly that.
I guess I could do one more thing.
Sure.
That ending is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
12,000 years later?
Yeah.
12,000
Yeah.
years?
Yeah. Sometimes these things happen.
Right? And then just they do that perfect moment of there is no hope. Earth is dead.
Uh-huh.
And then turn on the lights.
Earth was pranking them.
Yeah.
They were like, turn on the lights. This is going to be fucking hilarious. We've been waiting 12,000 years to punk these assholes.
Or I've also thought maybe we just don't use artificial lighting at night anymore.
Yeah, I was
It's been
thinking about that
12,000
too.
years. Who the fuck knows what's going on down there?
Like, we're still on Earth in 12,000 years means we probably made some changes.
Maybe we fixed Australia. I doubt it.
No, that's gone. That's just...
Yeah, we fixed it. We put it under the ocean completely.
The fucking British are like, yeah, we fixed Australia. Okay, well, now we're going to get to the ending of this episode of WeeaBoomers, which means we have to do what we usually do. Would you recommend people watch Gunbuster, Bob?
Yeah, no, like I said earlier in this is one of my favorite pieces of media. Like, period. You don't need to qualify it with anything. I cannot recommend it enough. If we were doing Blessed Blonde 10, this would be a 15 easily, a 16 probably. I cannot say enough about how you should watch this.
Aggro.
Like I said before, I'd only ever seen the first 2 episodes years and years ago, and I'd been intentionally putting this off for years because I knew it was going to be good, and I knew it was going to be that old shit. But you can't prepare for how foundational this is. If you have been watching anime for the past 10 years, you need to go check out Gunbuster and learn whence a lot of that shit came.
Chris.
Yes, of course, it's Gunbuster. I maybe don't have a number high enough for it.
I feel like my recommendation is just fucking ceremony at this point, and it doesn't have any actual functional purpose here. But yeah, Gunbuster, it's real good. Gets you real high. I'd highly recommend Gunbuster. Even if you're not looking for a religious, transformative experience in anime, this is really fascinating in exactly how much its tone changes, mutates, matures all throughout all 6 parts. It is fantastic in how it explores the human spirit. It is really great to watch Gundam from the era before this and then go straight into it to go, look at all this shit. Oh, and then there's that shit on top of it. It is fantastic. I highly recommend watching Gunbuster. I really wish I could live in a world where I didn't see all this other Gainax and Trigger shit first, because, man, that would really rock my fucking boat to be like, where is all this coming from? Meanwhile, it's like, this fucker again.
Right.
He does this all the time. The executive producers for this GigaBoots video are Esme, Ely Broyles, Spaceman Spiff, Red Blaze 27, Brendan O'Sullivan, A Reminder for Symphony of War, Cooper Tank, Very Best Plot, Iconic Bane, and Rado. Thank you very much to our executive producers. And also these guys. If you want to become an executive producer or normal patron, head on over to patreon.com/gigaboots today.